what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Lineage Break, a Grand Archive TCG podcast. I am your host, Cam. With me, as always, is this guy.
What?
Hi, Steve.
Not the glue. Threw me off there for
Hey,
a second.
Steven.
Hi, Cameron.
Hey, Steve.
Hey.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I've gotten
over my curmudgeonness, so we're fine.
He's in a great mood today.
You know?
He's in a great mood because we get to talk about
exciting things.
Yeah, we've had a good month, you know?
Yeah, you know, my favorite thing ever is after we've talked about all of these spoilers this month is to wake up and then get 5 or 6 notifications on Twitter from the lovely devs posting more spoilers.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. We shot the video that came out last week talking about spoilers, and we spent a lot of that episode speculating about the booster level 3s, and then the day after.
I don't even think it was the day after. I think it was the same day.
Yeah, our lovely editor put recorded on 12:15 in the corner of that video or whatever, because we were just like, I wonder when they're gonna put these out, and
then I had that sick thought about cross elements and whatnot, and then no. I was wrong.
Just fucking posts them on Twitter.
He somehow got our raw footage and was just like, oh well.
Somehow. Oh boy, I'm leaking all of them.
I would understand if you were.
So we have some booster pack level 3s to talk about, and then we have a fun little topic for the new year to talk about. You guys will probably see this right around the new year time, as we're recording a couple days before Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
But yeah, we have a couple of booster level 3s to talk about, and by that I mean you have a couple booster level 3s to talk about, and then I have the one that I care about.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna do 2, and you're gonna.
Yeah, sure, that works.
All right, all right.
The text on the rest of the, I don't care.
Whatever. I want to talk about Arisana.
No.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna start things off with Big Tony from the booster box. This is Tonaris Creations. Tonaris, isn't that? Tonaris?
There you go.
Tonaris.
You're doing it. Do whatever you want.
I'm just vibing. We all know I can't read or speak. It's fine. Tonaris Creations Will, level 3, cost 3, obviously. Neos element. It's champion Guardian Human.
This whole time?
Yeah, this whole time. Tonaris Lineage. If you would summon 1 or more tokens, you may summon that many Aura Steel Greatsword tokens instead. Token weapons you control have sacrificed this object. Target weapon gets +X until end of turn, where X is the object's power.
So you
30 health.
You play Summon Sentinels?
Yeah, you play Summon Sentinels, make 2 Greatsword.
2 3/1 swords instead.
You sack 1, and 1 becomes a 6/1. Right? Is that that's how that works?
The way that I'm thinking is you sack them both to your
big sword.
Yeah, to your big sword. You're like, I'll attack you for 13 or whatever, and then you add that with a heavy swing, and you're like, I'll attack you for your life total.
No.
Life gain doesn't matter if you attack for literally 25 and they die.
Well, so you don't attack with heavy swing,
right? You
throw an obelisk at them with it.
True. Great. All the things.
Here's base 13. I'm gonna throw this 5 cost domain at you as well with this attack for 1 billion.
Yeah, the only issue that I feel like I have with this is most of the token generation that we've seen so far, other than exactly Summon Sentinels, is linked to the other level 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how many tokens you get to make. It's any time you would create a token, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So do you? Not that I think it would be particularly good, but are you allowed to Is gather herbs class bonus? Can you play gather herbs to make an herb token that just turns into an Aura Steel Greatsword?
That doesn't sound very good. However,
it's funny though.
It's very sick.
Yeah. You play your gather herbs, you make a 3/1.
You're just I'm playing Creation's Will. Every card in my deck creates tokens. I'm just making swords.
Yeah, it's They just printed a card like this in Magic, right? Did you see that? It was I think it's in the Doctor Who set. It's displaced to dinosaurs. It's just anytime you'd make a token, it turns into like a 5/5 dinosaur. With trample.
No, that's not what that card does.
No, bigger than that.
So I just bought those last night.
Yeah,
and the one that I have has that card in it.
Sure.
It just says all tokens exist as 7/7 dinosaurs.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
They don't become it.
Right.
They just are it.
So yeah, maybe you just build a whole deck of token creators. I'm trying to think off the top of my head how many of those there are, because like obviously ALC is the first time we've seen tokens, so it's none of the old cards. We have like Genie. Genie's the one that taps and exiles an automaton. A lot of people are
talking about that mixed with
to make a 3/1, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I think there might be an automaton other than that makes tokens. What is that? The drone one? That makes...
Yeah, there's a couple. There's like I think like Airship Engineer makes an automaton, right? I don't know. There's a couple of things to make tokens.
Yeah.
I think he is probably the least impressive to me of the booster pack ones. I feel like I'd probably be incentivized just to play starter deck Tony all the time.
Yeah, I could see that. At least they're both 30, right? Like.
Yeah, it's our like baseline for Guardian. But again, I think it depends what the rest of the set looks like. I think the cool part about, hopefully. About like the difference between the starter deck and the booster one is that they want to like play super differently, which allows you to just have like more archetypes. Whereas I think Tony feels a little samey to me. Like you want to be doing the same thing, playing the same cards with both of these Tonys, at least as far as we know right now.
Right.
And if that's the case, I don't know why you wouldn't play the other one, but
so like there was that joke, right, about Lorraine and like in Soul about like unlimited blade works, but that always felt more Gilgamesh-y to me. This feels more unlimited blade works to me.
Well, he just looks like Gilgamesh though, right?
He looks like Gilgamesh, but like Lorraine's like summon a bunch of swords, they all attack you. Feels more like Gilgamesh's power, and this feels more like unlimited blade works.
Well, because he's factually creating the swords. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, bone of my sword. I get it. Yeah. Do you guys like Fate? Hey, chat. Hey, weebs. Do you guys like Fate? I don't know if this is unfounded. I think one of them said in the Discord that it's all coincidental, and I don't know that I believe that for any amount of time. I think they legally have to tell us that it's all coincidental, but there's no way that you're like.
I have a
making
whole
Saber.
SP1 line of warrior cards that
all
otherwise.
are Saber. Yeah, they're all Saber. So yeah, Tony is Gilgamesh / Amiya, I guess.
Yeah.
Neat.
All right, there you go.
Great. All right.
Hey, your name is literally in this, so
yeah. Shout out to Celadar who posted this for me on Twitter. So we're going to talk about the only champion that matters. Buckle in. We have Arisana Lucent Arbiter. This is our level 3 Astra. Cleric Human, 25 health. Arisana Lineage, and then she has a 3 reserve cost. Rest her. Rest? That's what it is in this game, right? Rest? Rest and wake up, right?
Maybe.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think so.
3 reserve costs, rest her, reveal the top card of your deck, negate target card activation if its reserve cost is equal to the reserve cost of the revealed card.
Huh.
Speaking of things that they're not legally allowed to say.
It's countertop?
This is counterbalance.
Mm-hmm.
They made counterbalance.
Uh-huh.
We were already talking about how the other deck, or the other Arisana cards, are like miracles. These are Magic the Gathering things, everybody. This is counterbalance.
Yep.
Which is great. I love countertop. I don't know, Steve. I'll give my thoughts, but how do you feel about Miss Lucent Arbiter?
I don't know. Honestly, like, as a ex-control player in The Gathering, this card's great. I love it. But I don't know how good in this game it is going to be. I think maybe it's a good start. I don't know if the rest of like a actual Magic control deck exists here yet. so I don't know how prevalent this card is. But the fact that you can sculpt your deck with Arisana pretty easily with Scries feels like you could probably counter any card that comes up.
I have, in the time that they have revealed this card, and we are now talking about it, which is
a week.
Yeah, like a week later. I've come full circle on this card like 3 or 4 times, which I guess is good. That's a sign of good design.
Right.
If I like can't tell if it's good or not. So I got spoiled. I'm a big fan of Counterbalance. So I like this card a lot. I think it's really cool. I think it adds a lot of real decision trees for the deck. However,
okay, so this is where I'm going to pause you because I'm curious on where you've landed because I've heard all aspects of your conversation about this card. So now I want to know where on the dial Cam has landed.
So I think it's great. So we here at Lineage Break are maybe sometimes hyperbolic because hyperbole is good for content. So feel free to take this with however little or a lot of context that you want. When I'm wrong, when I'm right, whatever.
When he's wrong, chat, add him in the Discord.
Yeah,
let me know. Loves that.
I think this card's bad.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I like it. I like its design a lot. I think it's really interesting. The reason that it was bad in Magic, we're going to go on a non sequitur, or I guess it is related, but so that you guys know what we're talking about. Counterbalance is a card in Magic the Gathering that says anytime your opponent casts a spell, you reveal the top card of your library. If that spell's cost is the same as the card on the top of your library, you counter that spell. So it's the same ability as Arisana. However, it's free and it happens every time. That deck was abusing a card that allowed you to pay 1 mana to look at the top 3 cards of your library and reorder them however you want. So the reason why that was so oppressive in the time that it was played is that, say you're playing against an aggro deck that's mostly 2-cost cards. You activate your card to look at the top 3 cards of your library. You put a 2-drop on top. Every time they cast a 2-drop for the rest of the turn, it'll trigger. It'll counter that 2-drop because you put a 2-drop on top of your library. So it like virtually locks them out of playing that mana cost card for the turn, right? Ari very much doesn't do that. She only gets 1 because she does rest herself and there is a cost. So it's not free. It is doesn't cost you any cards, so it is like a +1, right? If you counter something from your opponent's hand, you do lose them a resource and you don't spend anything.
It does feel like a lot of setup, though.
Right. So I think the issue that I have with Ari here, at least so far, so there's the context, if you do want to take context for what I said. I think there are cards that could make this a lot better. I think if she does not have an actual repeatable way to change the top card of her library, because like we have the Astrolabe, right, her weapon, that's rest glimpse 3. Yeah. But again, it's rest glimpse 3, so you only get to do it once, right?
The only thing I can think of that would make these cards good is if there's something that just untaps everything you have. Yeah,
maybe. That'd be really cool. So yeah, I think it all matters for context. We don't have all of the spice. For Astra yet, we actually have very few Astra cards.
I noticed that actually.
Like we have a bunch of the starter deck ones, but we have very few of the booster set ones. So I really hope that this card is like way better than it seems, because I think she's really cool and I think the play pattern is really cool and I would love to play it. And I probably will play it anyway. But yeah,
let's be real. He's gonna play this one.
He's
gonna play both of them.
Well, surely, yeah. It's
the only thing.
It's the only thing I'm playing, right? I get to have 6 decks. It's 3 of each Arisana deck, right? Yeah. So I think the fact that she does require a little bit too much setup, you probably get to counter 1 thing a turn, and you can pretty reliably do that. But the real issue, like the actual issue that I have with this, is that it is such a non-bow with star calling. Because when you star call, you have to put all of the cards that you're scrying to the bottom of your library. So you can't like activate your Astrolabe, put the card that you want on top for your Lucent Arbiter trigger, and also cast your star calling card. You don't get to do that. So it's like you glimpse 3, you see a really powerful card you want to cast, but you know that that's going to blank your Lucent Arbiter, and you have to like blind flip.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here just a little bit, because I see what you're saying, but I think if you're playing this deck, you're probably not on star calling.
Correct. I agree.
And I think in a non-star calling deck, if you're just playing her and like the Astrolabe and then like a bunch of the counter spells, like
Right.
it seems good. Obviously, you still probably play
Cosmic Bolt?
no, but probably
Comet Fall.
Comet Fall.
Yeah.
You're probably still playing a 4-set of Comet Fall. You're probably playing a 4-set of Cosmic Bolts, and you're just playing it like a blue-white control deck.
Yeah, but here's my, I agree. That is when I was high on this card at the beginning of the week. But then I come back around where I'm like, if you have to play all of these star calling cards because they're like the way that you finish the game, and Comet Fall is like a pretty mid card if you're not star calling it, then why aren't you just playing a star calling deck?
I see. I don't know.
So yeah, I think she's really cool. I hope there was a bit of an issue, I feel like, in DOA where all of the champions had 2 level 3s, and all of those champions that weren't just named Lorraine only had 1. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
Like all 4 of the champions had 2 different level 3s, but 3 of the 4 champions would only play exactly 1 because the other one was bad. There's always going to be one that's better than the other. That's just how card games work, right? Like it's very hard to create 2 things that are completely balanced. But I am hopeful that I don't want that to be the case with ALC. I want to you to have a real choice. I think one of the coolest things to me that I think would be really cool that hopefully comes up that only, again, really happened at all with Lorraine and DOA was I like the idea of you being able to play like an Arisana deck and having this card in your sideboard because it's powerful enough to like switch between them. But again, I think that Tony that we just talked about and this one are feeling just like, I don't know why you wouldn't play the other one.
I see that.
Which is a little tough.
Yeah. Maybe it depends on the matchup. Maybe like we're not seeing it because we haven't played any games. Maybe like Creation's Will is better into certain decks.
Right.
And a big domain deck is better.
Yeah.
And like you were saying before when we were talking about Tonaris, you're playing pretty much the same package for both decks.
Yeah, I think right now it's a card pool issue. And so I'm really interested. We'll come back and look at these in a couple of weeks when we hopefully have all of the rest of the spoilers, where I think once we see the whole Aeneas booster package, once we see the whole Astra booster package, maybe there is a reason to not play the ones, right? Whoa. Hey guys, we record a lot of stuff on this computer, and dumb old me, the computer said, hey, you don't have any disk space, and it stopped our recording, and we noticed, thankfully, 5-10 minutes later, so we just finished talking about Arisana, which is good. We got all of our talk about Arisana,
which is awesome.
How cute she is.
And then we lost all of our Diana talk. It was so good.
Yeah, you guys know how excited we are about Diana. At least now we get to repurpose our thoughts, and
Yeah, it's not just rambling.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's talk about the new Diana.
Hey, Diana, Curse Breaker. It's our level 3 from the pack.
Whoa!
Champion Ranger human, 25 health. She has banish all curse cards from Diana's lineage, materialize 2 bullets from your material deck. Until end of turn, Diana gains on attack, wake Diana up. Activate this ability only if there are 4 or more curse cards in Diana's lineage.
Oh my god, she's so broken. How do you feel about this, Steven?
This card's pretty good, I think. Yeah.
There we go. We repurposed our thoughts.
Yep, repurposed our thoughts. It's hard because we had already just had that full discussion.
Yeah.
So now all of my previous thoughts...
You got to do it for the camera,
I know
Steve.
I have to do it for the camera, but all of our previous thoughts are all
I think she's pretty good.
I think she's pretty good too. And as we were saying, which you guys don't know, I think this card is a good side deck card for the mirror.
Yeah, so I think she's very obviously strongest when you're playing against an opposing Diana and she's giving you curses. That's the most obvious test case, right?
Other than that, she is a combo kill deck.
Right.
Where you're trying to get them to a certain amount of life and then shoot a bunch of bullets into their head and hopefully rip cards out of their hand with Shadow's Twin and Mind Break Bullet.
Yeah, it leans into something that we talked about last week where She's a little bit fragile. I think that's the problem that Diana has, and this sort of leans into that, where if they have interaction for you, you're pretty sad about it. But you can sort of set up this combo turn where every time you attack with her, she wakes up. So it allows you to attack as many times as you have bullets or have durability on your gun. So like if you have a fresh Shadow's Twin, it allows you to attack 5 times, which is quite strong if they're hitting. But the downside of that is that you have to apply some amount of curses to yourself, and thus far, the only ones that we've seen are detrimental. I think it would be interesting if they give us some like curses, that give you like a positive effect when you give them to yourself. But we have like Violet Haze, which is a card that you probably just want to cast anyways, but then it has an inherited effect to give -2 health, and you assumingly are supposed to give that to your opponent. You can give it to yourself, and maybe more cards like that. If that's all we have, I think that sort of points towards the power level that they believe this card is at, which I find pretty interesting. That if they're only detrimental effects, and that is only the only way to put curses under your own lineage, then maybe she is like way more powerful than we think she is. But yeah, I think she has a lot of parallels to Lorraine from set 1, where this is, like Steve said, a very sideboardable card for the mirror, and something that doesn't require you to like necessarily rebuild your whole deck. Like in the mirror, you can just play this card and have the same like value-based deck that you're playing already, and this gives you, a way to remove your curses and give you some additional value against the mirror match. And then, you can theoretically just build your whole deck around this sort of combo kill. I don't know if that'll end up being the thing.
I think it's important to also point out that this is on attack wake up and not on hit wake up.
Right.
I think that is a big distinguishing like fact of whether or not this card is playable or not. Because I think if it was on hit wake up, it's probably less playable than we think it is. But I think on attack wake up means that even if they have some sort of disruption, as long as it's not like Resolute Stand or something like that, you're still getting in there for some damage. Right.
Yeah.
Like if you shoot deflecting edge or something, your mind break bullet, you're still shooting them at least 2 more times, or at minimum a singular other time or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even if they like fracturize your Shadow's Twin or whatever, assuming that you still have your Seeker's Rifle in play. Yeah. I think that is a good point to make. It sees sort of similarities to the like Spirit's Blessing, Spirit Blade Infusion deck from DOA. But the problem that deck had was if you don't hit with your triple infusion sword, your whole turn ends, right? You're like, I just lost all of the cards that I put into this, and that's not necessarily true for Diana, which I think is interesting.
It's like a real thing to think about, right? Like, because like I feel like a lot of these like big attack, like I'm gonna try to hit you a bunch of times deck, are reliant on actually hitting, and Diana's just like, well, I'm just gonna attack. I don't actually have to hit. I'm going to keep attacking as long as I can.
Right. Yeah, it's about stripping resources, right? So like
even at the worst case scenario, right? They Resolute Stand.
Right.
It still might be a board clear, right?
Right.
You're still just going to use the bullets to kill allies.
Yeah, or you get, cards out of their hand, or both, right?
Right.
It's about resource efficiency, and I think that's why she feels like she has so many similarities to Lorraine. They're both these like resource like trading based decks, right? That are all about incremental value on all of their cards, rather than like a combination of cards, winning you the game. I think so far she looks like the most powerful of the 3 booster pack ones. I think a lot of that is without context. We haven't seen basically any of the advanced element cards at all, really, from the booster set. We've seen a lot of the starter deck ones, because those are the ones that they talked about in design notes. But we've seen one Astra card.
I don't even know if any of the...
One Neos card, right? We saw Neos Elemental this week. Have we seen anything other than that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so...
And then we've seen the... What?
Oh yeah, the one Umbra card as well.
The one Umbra. This is ALC, yeah. So this is like the not starter deck.
Yeah,
so
the Ball Lightning 7/1 Archer.
Yeah.
So we have a lot more advanced element cards to see, and I assume that they will probably be designed with these champions in mind,
rather than the.
Yeah, which is super interesting in Diana's case, where I guess it's just like it's due to the order in which we saw them, right? That I think us and a lot of people in the community have sort of based their opinions on these decks based on the starter deck ones, where it's like, oh, well, Ari, of course, who we're going to talk about, is a star calling deck, and then the whole archetype is about star calling, but like that's like probably not true,
right? Because like all of the things that we've seen for star calling are
in the starter deck, so like we might not get any in the booster set.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Diana. I was like, oh, well, she gives curses to your opponent. That's so cool. Maybe that's not actually the case. Maybe she puts curses on herself, like almost, exclusively.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's sort of we're sort of realizing it in real time with you that
we might have made judgment calls on certain cards prematurely.
Right. I didn't realize until like this moment that we've seen basically none of the advanced element cards.
And like I think there's 9 in DOA, 9 of each element.
Yeah, you guys missed us counting them off the top of our head, which is terrible content.
They literally didn't need to know that.
We're very, very bad at it.
But I think we've calculated there's 9
something like that.
of each element.
It's 9 or 10.
Yeah. Which means that we still have 30-ish or like a little less than 30 cards.
Yeah, we still have like 100 cards in the set that we haven't seen.
So like,
what are we doing, guys? Still, what's going on, man? Set's out in like a month.
Right.
I gotta know what these things are.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. But interesting stuff. I think hopefully they carve out their spot and have unique archetypes, because I think it would be very cool. I think DOA suffered a little bit in that, but
it definitely seems like there's I'm going to say this again without context.
We love those.
I think
at him on the Discord when he's wrong.
Do not at me at the Discord. What are you talking about? That's a Cam thing. I think there's 2 distinct decks for each hero here.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool design.
I hope they feel more like distinct decks, but again, we haven't seen anything. Right.
So like we're still missing like almost all of the element cards for the starter, for like the booster set heroes.
Give me
champions.
All the Astro cards, Steven. I know you have them.
They're right in my pocket. Here.
Give me all of the Astro cards.
Here, there you go.
Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how these heroes.
But I'm very hopeful to see more cards that lean into the booster set hero archetypes rather than the structure deck archetypes.
Right.
Like it seems like Tonaris. Everyone calls him Tony, so I get tone in my head.
Yeah.
Anyways,
you're toned, all right. Let's see those guns. Oh yeah.
I'm toned like Polhawk.
But that dude's guns.
It's very interesting to see if booster set Tonaris is more about token generation.
Maybe, yeah.
Rather than like
it's like late game control thing. Yeah.
Big smack with obelisk type of style. Where if it's more like create guys like allies.
Yeah.
And then instead of making allies, you make swords.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting to see. However, we won't know until the rest of the spoilers come out.
We won't know until the rest of the spoilers come out. God, I feel like I'm just kidding.
You're just fucking
flushing
me right now. I'm
just FTC, we knew so far ahead of time.
I know. I kind of like the fact that we are like.
No, it's better for sure.
Like we're a month out and we're still like speculating.
I think the way that they handled spoiler season this time was very good.
Yeah.
So I understand why they do early spoilers. This is like I don't know if we've talked about this on the show, but it's due to the way that they do their printing cycle, where they do spoiler season early so that people that run local game stores can put in their pre-orders. Who cares? People can put in their pre-orders so they know how much to print, right?
Right.
They don't. It's not like Magic where they just like choose an arbitrary number and they print that many. They want to print to a reasonable like demand, right? They want to know how much demand there is and then adjust their print numbers accordingly. So that's why they do spoiler season so early. But the problem with FTC is that like we had known all of the cards in FTC like 6 weeks before the set was even out. So it felt like by the time FTC came out, it was like old news, right? Like we're like, oh, we've had these cards forever. I guess now we have them physically, but we've known about them for so long. Where now we're 4 weeks out. We're going into Christmas week, where I assume we're not going to get a whole lot. So like we're gonna have a really intense couple of weeks before the set comes out, where we get all these spoilers. But I think something that's worth noting is that I think that DOA had a bit of an issue with the level 3 champions. Like in the starter set and the booster set, there was usually a correct choice if your name wasn't Lorraine. But I think hopefully it's like an iterative process, right? Like we are growing with Grand Archive, which is one of the coolest things about it. That it's growing as a game, but like they're also growing as game developers, right? And I think they've learned a lot since DOA, and I have full confidence that in ALC they'll know how to make these two, like the starter deck and the booster level 3s, feel distinct and feel like their own archetypes, which is awesome. So
yeah, I fully agree with that. It already kind of feels like that with like at least Diana. Like it seems like both
super
of her
divergent. Yeah.
Right, both of her decks feel different.
They're like directly opposed, which I think is really cool. Like one is about giving you curses, one is about giving me curses, right?
Right. I think it'd be very cool. I think it adds a little bit to like that mirror too, because it's just like, which one are you staying with?
Right. Are you one? Are you both? So like if you're the I want curses on me deck and you're playing the creeping torment deck, you're like, oh yeah, you can hit me. I'll take the torment token. It allows me to pop my champion ability.
Right. But like so like it just. It's like kind of cool mind games to think about like later on. It's just like, well, if the Diana decks are really going to just play both,
right? And
then it's just like, okay, which one are you switching into?
Yeah. Which one do you sideboard into?
Right. And then if you're like sitting there like trying to figure out how your opponent's going to
so this is a level 1, level 2, level 3, right?
They're going to like change the deck around, right? And it's just, I think that's super cool. I think that like that adds a whole layer into competitive gameplay, which is super cool.
Yeah. So we are very excited. We can't wait to see more spoilers. We've gone on a little bit long, as we do every week. I have to open the store because, getting up early is hard, and so we get up early before the store opens and record the show, and then we inevitably have some sort of technical issue and don't record half of our episodes. So
hey,
we fixed it though.
Our light stayed on.
The light is on. We've done the thing. We've done the technology. We are pseudo professionals.
We are getting more professional every time.
You wouldn't believe when people like walk in here and they see the
and they're like
the equipment or whatever. They're like, oh my god, what do you guys do? And we're like, yeah, we shoot a stupid show on the internet that we're very bad at.
I thought you were just gonna say when they come in and they're like realize how small our space is. It looks great, right, on camera. Like,
we framed it well.
Right,
the walls are right here,
but like. There's stuff right here.
Oh yeah.
There's not a lot of room back here.
Maybe we'll take you on a tour someday.
No, probably not.
Clean this place up.
Yeah, that'll probably never happen. But anyways.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have for you this week. I mentioned something I think at the top of the show. I don't remember. It's been so long. That was 40 minutes ago. Who knows? About a New Year's topic. Looks like we'll save that New Year's topic for next week. We went on too long. You put this goddamn Arisana card in my face. And I'm going to talk about it for as long as you give me,
and I like listening to him just rant about Cleric, so I'll just let him go on forever. But it probably was a detriment.
If that's what you want, when you show me Ari cards, I'm so excited.
Let us know in the comments if you just want like a weekly episode of Cam just sitting here for 15-20 minutes talking about Ari. Because that'd be cool.
Yeah. That would be good for my mental health, I think.
Yeah, just like let him get it out.
Let it out. Yeah.
So that way we're not stuck on it when we're talking about stuff.
All right. Well, that's all we have for you guys. Hey, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate. We hope you're having a good time.
And we will be back next week.
We'll be back next week for New Year's stuff.
Have a good one, guys.
Looks like Astral Seal to me.